So if you want to learn from the horse's mouth, direct message from someone who has been through the entire experience from zero level of driving to feeling, how many percent do you feel that you're ready before the test? Out of 100?
Maybe 90 something.
Okay.
But you told me you are ready.
Fantastic. I'll take it from her. She said she felt minimum 90% ready. And you want to know exactly how she felt before the test, a day before the test, after the test, passing the first time around. This video is for you. Right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you've passed your test.
Yeah.
How does that feel? You passed your test, yeah? How does it feel?
Amazing.
Amazing. That's good. Amazing. That's what we'd like to hear. Amazing. So I've got a few questions here for you, and I've tried to take my time to kind of list them up and see how you're going to answer these questions.
Okay.
Right. First one is, what's your name?
Hannah.
Hannah. Okay. So where are you from? Which city do you live in the UK?
Manchester.
Right. So when did you start learning to drive for the first time? When was the first time you started learning to drive?
If I could remember, it was August
So we are in April 2024. Okay, cool.
2025.
Thank you. So if my maths have me right, that's around 6 months. August, yeah, about 6 months.
7, yeah.
6-7 months, yeah. Okay, cool. So the next question is, did you start to learn with manual, automatic? So just to put it straight, she passed her test in an automatic transmission car. But did you start to learn in manual, automatic? Which
Manual.
one? Manual. Okay. Right. Next question. How many hours did you do in manual lesson, roughly?
I don't know. Maybe like 12.
What was in manual? Okay. Then you later changed to automatic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you want to share with us why you decided to move from manual to automatic?
Because I thought it will be easier
It'd be easier to
learn. Yes, to
automatic.
learn,
yeah.
yes. And I don't know. I
Okay,
just changed
we'll
my
take
mind.
it. So you thought it would be easier to learn automatic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now then, so what difference did you notice between, or let's talk about the first time you jumped from a manual lesson to automatic lesson. How did you feel after the end of the first lesson in automatic lesson?
Oh, it was easier.
It was easier.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you don't need change gears, you don't need, you don't have clutch, and you not stall. It was easy. Yeah.
It was easier. Okay. You've already told us the difference between automatic and manual. You just said you don't need to change, you don't need to use a clutch, you don't need to change the gears and all of that. Now, again, so even though you decide to move from automatic driving lessons, from manual driving lessons to automatic driving lesson, you said your first lesson was fantastic. It was a lot easier. But then when you start going into automatic, you've had maybe 3, 4, 5 lessons. Was it still challenging, or do you think it was piece of cake from the first lesson in
No,
automatic
of course
to the end?
it was not easy, because you need to learn everything, all rules, everything, and same like manual when you drive.
Okay. You're trying to say that, well, you have to really prepare for the test.
Of course.
Whether it's manual or automatic, there's a lot to
Doesn't
learn,
matter,
even though
yeah.
you change from manual to automatic.
Of course.
Can you give us a rough idea what you mean by you have to learn a lot of rules? Give us an example of what you mean. I mean, you just passed your test, so the knowledge should be fresh. What did you learn?
Everything.
Give us an example.
All theory, you need to know everything.
You're saying even though you've passed your theory, you still need the knowledge of that theory
Of
when
course,
you're driving.
of course.
Okay, good. Yes,
Of course.
absolutely.
Every time you need to listen your instructor.
You need to listen to your instructor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. What else did you learn? I'm talking about things like how to move a car, you know, exercise you do, turning left, turning right. Those things, were they easier because it's automatic? Parallel parking, was it easier because it's automatic? Bay parking was easier because of automatic. Roundabout was easier because of automatic. Or they are still challenging because...
No, it's still the same like in manual, because you need remember always check your mirrors, signals, everything.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm moving to the next one then. So let's debate a little bit. When did you start to learn your theory? Your theory, was it done before you start learning the practical with me, or was it after you started the practical with me?
It was after.
You started the
Yes.
practical with me.
Yes.
Okay. So if you started your practical in August, what month did you start your theory, roughly?
I passed my theory on October.
October. So
Yeah.
the 2 months after.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to pass or prepare for the theory?
Like 1 month.
Did you pass the first attempt, the theory?
Second.
All right. So what was your experience? Why do you think you failed your first theory? Was it under the eyes of perception or?
Because anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a lot of time to yourself to do it.
Yes, but when you came, you didn't know what you should expect.
Oh, I see.
And yes, it was like a little bit scary, and this why. I
Okay.
failed only one question
Wow.
in first attempt.
Wow. Okay, so it was very close.
Yeah.
Okay, so before you did your practical test, how many hours roughly did you do altogether? Plus manual, automatic, roughly how many hours together?
Before I pass
Yeah,
my
so
theory.
No, before you went for your practical test, how many hours did you do altogether? I mean, from manual added to the automatic, how many hours roughly together?
About 60.
Okay, cool. So moving on. Now, for your practical test, how many attempts did you had to go at the practical test? How many times did you do your practical test?
One.
Once. So you passed the first time.
Yes.
How good was that?
It was easy. Yes, it was nice.
Right. If you remember, we spoke to you a number of times when you're very worried, anxious. In fact, you're having a change of mind from driving. You're very worried. Now compare how worried you were. I mean, the worst worry that you were. So compare it to how you feel now, or compare it to what you saw after you passed the test. Do you think the test was that really difficult
No.
to make you that worried?
No.
So it wasn't that difficult.
No, at all.
Was it different from?
And the examiner was so friendly, and I don't know, it was easy.
Okay. So you think it doesn't worth the stress then?
No.
So would you knew this, would you have been more relaxed, maybe had good sleep many weeks, many days before
Yes.
the test? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good one to share with the viewers and everyone that care to listen to you, that they should take it easy. That, I mean, like I said to you, even if you don't pass the first time, you can go and do it again, learn from your first mistake, and then go well prepared the next attempt. But you managed to do it the first time. How good is that?
Perfect.
Perfect, exactly. So since you passed, how many days ago now?
Around 10.
Have you been able to have better sleep?
Yes.
Exactly, well done. Okay, now this one is very unique, what I'm going to ask you now. Even myself, I was very worried. Anyway, so you practice in this car.
Yeah.
Even the manual and the automatic. The manual car I use and this car, they're like almost the same, isn't it? Because it's the same brand of car and the same model. But something happened just a day. I think it was a day before
Yeah.
your test.
Just evening before.
The evening before. So you only have hours before the test. My car was in the garage and it won't come out
Yeah.
because they were not able to fix the car. I was in the garage for, I think, over the weekend. Monday, your test was on Tuesday. I thought it was going to be out on Saturday. Anyway, I called you on Monday evening, which is the evening before your test, and tell you, oh, this is what is happening with the car. I'm afraid the car is not available. I'm worried. I'm looking at the options, what cars I can get for you. How did you feel at the time when I was calling you about my car not being available?
It was so stressful.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was so stressful. I cried. because I didn't know
Yeah.
what I should do.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
So eventually you managed to organize a car.
yeah.
Now, can you tell us the difference between the car you used and this car? Was there any difference at all?
It was lots of difference.
A lot of difference. So it's not the same brand?
No, it
Okay.
was small car.
Smaller
it was
car?
Honda Jazz.
On the Jazz, yeah. And this is Toyota Harris. With
Yes,
the, okay.
yes. Honda Jazz was old.
Mother, yeah.
Yeah, without Parktronics.
Oh,
Without,
there was no reverse camera.
No.
Wow.
and I just sit and did my best.
Good. So, do you remember I spoke to you the morning before the test? So, can you share with the viewers what I said to you the morning when I knew that you've had a different car? What did I say to you in the morning?
You said everything the same. You told me you will pass. You were
Everything,
sure,
is,
yes.
everything is the same.
The same.
That you only need to take your skills to the car.
Yes. Yeah.
That once you know where the gear stick is, you know how to put the car into drive into reverse. You can use the two pedals, which is the brake and the gas.
I use mirrors.
And you use
instead
mirrors.
Of camera, yeah,
exactly, instead of cameras. And then you manage to pass.
Yes, of course.
Fantastic. Very well done to yourself. Well done. So, I think generally, when you look back now, or you want to say to your younger self or to your daughter when she wants to learn to drive, what advice would you give to your friends, younger self, your daughter, any friend of yours? I think, oh, they're so worried, so anxious about passing the test because they've heard from other people that they do the test 4 or 5 times, they didn't pass and all of that. What advice would you give generally?
Take your test when you 100% know you prepare for test. Listen your instructor.
Listen to your
Every time,
instructors.
yes. Learn everything. Repeat everything what you learn every day.
Yeah.
Exam not too hard.
Not so.
What we can imagine. Yeah.
It's not other than what you can imagine. That's what you're
Yes, of
trying to
course,
say.
yeah, yeah.
So it's, if you were to look at, you think it was very hard, you give it like 100% or 10 out of 10. But the actual test, how would you rate it from 1 to 10? 10 is very hard. 1 is very easy. So before the test, you'll probably think it's more than 10. Yeah, before the test.
Yeah.
So now that you've done it, rate it from 1 to 10. How difficult? 10 is very difficult. 1 is easy peasy.
Like 3.
Wow. 3.
Yes.
Wow. 3. And you're not saying this because you've passed, right?
No.
You're saying this because of what you saw.
Yes.
That is as basic as your driving lessons. Like they're asking you to turn left, turn right, pull up somewhere safe. When it's time for a maneuver, they'll tell you what type of maneuver you're going to do.
Course.
They'll tell you take your time and all of that. Ask questions if you don't understand. And the examiners are not monsters, are they? They're not monsters.
You know, when examiners sit next to me, I feel like friends sit next to me because we chat, we laugh sometimes. It was so easy and time
Went really quick.
yes, so fast.
Isn't it interesting you're saying that now? Do you remember before your test what you're worried most about is the examiner
Yeah.
sitting here because it's a stranger?
Yeah.
Is that not what? Now you're saying it's like a friend. You're just
Yeah.
chatting all through. Sometimes you laugh and that did not affect your concentration. It doesn't affect your understanding the instruction. Wow, that is really good. Well done.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So that's the end of my question. I think I've covered everything. Fantastic. Very nice to see that you're happy, you're relaxed and calm. That's what we like to see. So, thank you guys. See you in the next one.